afternoon and welcome to the TheoTrade afternoon video. I am Blake Young. Today is June 11th, 2026. We're going to talk about the news reactions and where to put your money to participate in these moves, but not chase the move. To begin with, we're going to talk about the S&P 500. The S&P 500 gapped down, closed down. You can see it went right to the monkey bar and settled in and closed down there yesterday. We traded down to it, came back up, closed inside, or opened inside, closed down and hit that target, and then we gapped higher, put a new low in, and traded all the way back up to this monkey bar. So I'm not convinced we're going higher than 736. The question is, how do we play this when the reaction can happen in 10 minutes? So the normal range, the bigger moves, the larger candles, and we see today was $12.22. It looks like we're going to have pretty much equal volume to yesterday, and arguably reversing yesterday if we can get through the high, but trading right up to that level. Same volume, same size moves roughly, gap down, close down, gap up, close up, and we're counteracting those moves. But when the move is in 10 minutes, where do you look? When the move happens so fast that you don't get an opportunity to be able to participate in it because it started here, traded all the way down, and we shot higher in 10 minutes, do we go and chase technology? Do we go chase into consumer discretionary? My short answer to that is no. We don't chase those higher flyers. We chase what is going to give us likely the better trends. To begin with, we can look at the fact that we did turn the corner and we're about 2 times capital on the way up as we are on the way out. So we still have 1.6 billion in capital leaving. We have 3.3 billion going in. Now we're to the last hour. Yesterday we had 10 times the volume going out of the market as far as capital flow than going into the market in the advancing issues. So the fact that we're only 2 times the opposite direction still tells us this is probably not a full reversal, at least based off the monkey bars and the fact that the capital is not enough to offset what we saw yesterday. But doesn't mean there's not bullish opportunities. So when we look at this, we're going to look at the index watch to the heat map and look where the money's moved. Well, you can see, yes, back into tech, but kind of muted. It's hard to push NVIDIA, Broadcom, and Apple higher when there's some more uncertainty around that space. The chips, the advanced, the Micron, the Intels, those are showing that we have money moving into the chips again, but not necessarily into the AI sector. Communication, Google's flat to down, Meta's flat to down, Microsoft's down, and Oracle's still down 10%. They did not have a great earnings. The fact is they are hemorrhaging money. They have negative free cash flow, so it doesn't matter what their revenues are. If it costs them more than to bring in the money than they are bringing in. So not a great thing for Oracle. But as we look, you can see industrials are hot. That's probably the strongest area on this whole chart. In fact, industrials have recovered the most and pushed higher to 2.96%. That does not seem like speculation as much as stability. And you can see some of the big blue chip type names like Boeing and like GE. Let's go take a closer look. If you look at Boeing, Boeing traded down like the others, but it's not just recovering yesterday's sell-off. We're seeing a bullish cluster in the market forecast yesterday saying you can go ahead and buy back into Boeing. We probably should have put a short put on yesterday for Boeing to be willing to participate in this move. We've already gone up $9. So we're about 5% in one day, 5.05% in one day. But does that mean that we can't still play this play? Let's take a look at the options. And if we sold the put where we wish we would have sold it yesterday, we'd be looking at about 210. Well, the 210 will pay you 2%. And that's okay. That's a reasonable number. I generally want to see 2.5% with about double that as the safety net. But if we look at this option at 210, they will pay us $4.45. That means we have about a 3% safety net to be able to partake in this move. So we basically don't want it to reverse back to yesterday's low minus the 440, which means we can let this fall all the way down to 205.50-ish. And if it goes to 205.50, we want to be done, but that's still a reasonable trade, even though it's gone up so much and we may not want to chase it. If we wanted to get into other opportunities, say, where could this go? Looking back at the chart, yeah, we could go to 230, and if we can break through there, I don't see any reason why a stock like Boeing doesn't go back up to the next target of 244, where we had this high and we had all of this consolidation. If we thought we could go for 244, and we're at roughly 220, we're looking at about a 24-point move and an additional 10%. So today's move times 2. We'd expect this to happen again and again sometime before the end of this month. If we're to do an in-out spread, we'd go to the trade tab, we'd look at that time frame, say, yep, we could go all the way out to July, we could buy a delta near 70, and we'd want to sell where we thought it was going to go, or a little bit inside of that. If we bought the 210, we're going to pay $5.13 of time decay. We want to collect at least that much in time decay, and we could go with a 210 via a long call spread or an in-out spread and collect the 225, and we'd be in this $15 trade for about $8.40. The probabilities were better than 50-50 because we're paying $8.40, which means our break even is $2.1840. It gives us at least $1 of safety in the fact that it doesn't have to move. But if it does move up to our target, then we get about a 90% return on risk. If we look at GE's tried to break free today. It still feels very stuck in this range. And again, just focusing on some of these bigger players in the industrials. I have 2 others that I think are stronger candidates. 320 would give you a 2.81%. So today we're up 10 points. That's roughly 320 yesterday. If we sold the 320 where we wish we would have bought in, we would get paid 2.8%. And if we get paid 2.8%, our break even is about 5.6% lower. And that's because we're getting paid $9 against 320. Our break even is 311. So it gives us an opportunity to be able to participate in this. If it stays where it's at or goes higher, we get to keep all of that money. If it could fall all the way down to 320 and we get to keep all that money, and it gives us about a 5% safety net. So I like GE better than what we saw on Boeing. However, the one that is interesting is the aerospace defense contractors. If we were really confident that this was a peaceful thing and everything is going to be fine, would we really be betting on military contracts accelerating if this is where we're at? Let's take a look at a couple of those. And we'll start with RTX. RTX gave you that bullish cluster, the bullish cluster down here. It told you if you trade above this high or this high, you can go ahead and go long. If you had, you would be buying it at 175. You'd be already up at 183. I like the fact that this tried to sell off, and again, we outpaced yesterday's sell-off. We broke through the high. We're closing above the high. And the next target could go all the way back up to 196, even 200. And so we have some room in here. We have probably 7 or 8% move. Today is 3.5. So like what we saw in GE, I'm expecting double this move again, double today's move again, which gives us an opportunity to make 6, 7% or as high as 8%. And RTX is giving us a strong move. Volume's a little light, but I do like the breakout that we're seeing in this chart. The options are cheap. So if you go to the options and look at the puts, we really wouldn't want to sell the put down at 175 because there's no money in there. Even the 180 is only 2%, but it's too close to the current price. So instead what we could do, I mean, you could still do 4%. What we can do is we go over to this side. We could buy a delta near 70. 74 is the closest. That's the 175 call. We'd buy that one. We sell a strike out of the money where we're getting paid at least the same amount of time decay, if not more, with the delta between 30 and 40. And this is going to give us a spread. This is roughly the same cost, same setup. It's $8.13 for a $15 Y spread. A little bit better price. And your break even on this, if you're paying $8.13 above 175 takes you to 183.13, and it gives you a positive time decay. In other words, it doesn't have to move for you to make a little bit of money, but if it does go higher, you have the potential of making about 80-90% return on risk. The last one I'm going to discuss in this space in industrials is Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin had a phenomenal move today. It broke out, cleared out all the highs, not just from yesterday's pullback, but all the highs going all the way back to and through this gap. That means the short easy target is going to go to fill this gap up at 555. I think we're going to easily go through there and go all the way up here to 590. And we're looking at about a 10% move in that next move. Today's move is about 4.4. So again, we're seeing about double today's move again and again. What I like about Lockheed Martin is not only that it's a strong bullish candle, it's eating up everything else, it's breaking out. We have a gap target as well as an additional target higher, but the options are priced well. The only thing is that this is a little bit more expensive if you just do the short put. The short put we could sell at 540 and they'll give us 2.68%. price would have to fall the $8.54 back to the 540, and that's going to give you roughly a 4.7% safety net if you just sold the put. But again, that would be assuming that we're willing to be assigned at 540. That means each contract would in essence be getting ready to own $54,000 worth of Lockheed. So instead, we could turn this into a short put vertical and sell the put and buy one strike out. Like so. That's going to give you a $1.55 credit. The difficulty is the spreads are wide right now. We obviously have a lot of volatility going into today. But if you can get the $1.55, that's a good spot to be in for this type of vertical. I like the chart. I like the setup. I like the theoretical premium. I just don't know if we're going to get a fill on this particular trade, which still has me going back to look for safety and dividend. And maybe this time you do think this is the true peace deal that is going to last and the markets are going to keep on going up. But if you're unsure, then look for safety. I could throw XLU on here, but I do like NEE. It's just been sitting here flat. We've talked about the idea that we can sell premium into these utility companies, and if we get assigned, sell puts and we get assigned, then we'll go right into a dividend payer. So we don't have to buy bonds to get the same type of behavior in selling puts on Nextera. If we had sold this, well, we've had a week of flat. Okay, if we sold it right at the money, well, 85.29, they're going to pay you that 2.5%, that $2, and we would have about a third of that already collected in time decay if we sold earlier weeks. If we sold this now at 85, we're getting paid $2. That's 2.5% for 30 days. If it stays where it's at, it could assign it. I mean, up and down a little bit, but it could assign. And then we're going to have a cost basis of 83 and immediately be in the trades to start collecting these dividends every quarter. So Nextera pays a 2.92%. And it's sitting here at support, and they'll pay you 2.5% to get it. Duke will pay you a little bit less as far as premium here, but it's $2.60 for the 125s. It brings your cost basis down to about 122.40, and at 122.40, after you're assigned, you're going to get paid 3.4%. Exelon is similar. They're going to pay you less than 2%. Down at the 45, but that means that you are getting really about 2.5%. If you sold the 46, you would be giving up 8 cents, but you'd also be collecting about $1.10. So it'd be as though you're buying it at 45, or you could sell the 45, and that would be as though you're buying it at 44.20, 44.25. And then again, if it falls back, you collect a 1.75 to 2% premium, and then you collect that 3.66% yield. And this is just a way we can get into plays that protect us and still pay us while we're waiting to see when it is actually truly a signed peace deal. With all the news, we don't need to chase the noise. We don't need to chase down the excitement. We can trade into where we see technical breaks and stable places that are not betting on AI or betting on tweets. And generally, we will find those in the defensive sectors like consumer staples, utilities, and healthcare. In fact, let's take a look at Pfizer. Pfizer is another one that is a very high dividend paying stock. Notice that we got the breakout here. We pulled back, we broke out, we cleared that monkey bar, we cleared the highs, we've above all the previous closes and the gap. We did go up and almost fill the gap. Let's just double check the pennies there. Open 26.51, today's high 26.48, so almost filling that gap. But this is a bullish breakout. If we can sustain this bullish breakout, not only do we have a target of 26.70, but I'd say about 27.50. I'm not trying to own Pfizer for some super massive bullish move. You can see it's pretty flat for the year, but they pay a very hefty dividend. If you look at the options, how can we get this dividend? Well, they will pay us 6.5%. If I sell a put down here at 26, it would have to fall 30 to 40 cents. Then it'd have to fall an additional 40 to 45 cents. That's 1.7% return for a month and a 3.4% safety net. But the biggest thing here is if we can get assigned, collect 1.7% while we wait, and get assigned, then we also get a 6.5% dividend yield. We're not trying to knock the cover off the ball. We're trying to collect premium while we wait, collect dividends while we wait. And then if we are assigned all of these stocks we have with a high dividend, let's start selling out of the money calls. And that's going to give you about a 1% premium every month as well. So if I can collect 1.7% for a month while waiting to get in, then collect 6.5% dividend yield every quarter, or pricing an annual, but quarterly collect the dividend, and while I'm waiting, sell out of the money calls for 1%, theoretically, we're setting up to make about 18% annually on Pfizer and about 15% annually on those other stocks. There are still reasons to play dividend stocks. There's still reasons to play safety instead of chase. And that's what I'm looking for in these massive reactions to news and tweets and initial, hey, we're going to attack them aggressively, and then, yep, we're pretty much signing the peace deal right now. Those back and forth, those swings can cause a lot of volatility and cause a lot of fear, but there's still safety and still opportunities in these markets. So keep looking for that, and join me again tomorrow. Thanks.